The next presentation is by Milla and Niemi about wild reindeer and road.
Hello, everyone. My name is Milla Niemi. I'm working in Wildlife Service Finland as a wild forest reindeer conservation specialist. My presentation today is about, surprise, surprise, traffic mortality of wild forest reindeer. And this presentation is just a tiny part of a partially EU-funded project, Wild Forest Reindeer Life. First, just a few words about European or sometimes Finnish wild forest reindeer. It's actually a subspecies of a reindeer which lives in northern Eurasia and in North America. But however, this subspecies, nowadays it lives only in Finland and in western parts of Russia. Total world population is somewhere around 5,000 individuals at the moment. In Finland, that population has been increasing slightly, while the opposite is true in Russia. One important thing is that wild forest reindeer female can get only one calf per year, which means that the species is very vulnerable for any mortality factor. If we're looking at current distribution of wild forest reindeer in Finland, we nowadays have two separate subpopulations. First of all, in the east, there is a population with about 800 individuals, and this population is more or less shared with Russia. Then in western part of country, there is a population with about 2,000 individuals. In addition, there are two new reintroduced populations, but the total amount of animals is very small yet. When comparing wild forest reindeer with other ungulate species like moose or roe deer, there are a couple of specialties we should be aware of. First of all, wild forest reindeer use very different type of habitat during summer and winter. And this makes that species strongly migratory, and annual migration distances might be even several hundreds of kilometers. So it means that there are many roads to cross, some of them probably only twice, but still. The second thing is that even wild forest reindeer is quite solitary during the summertime. In autumn and especially in winter, they move in herds. And in one herd, there might be tens or even hundreds of animals. So it's very easy to see that if major roads or railways cut important wintering area, there is always a high risk of traffic collisions. And one thing is, of course, that when they like to move as groups, it's always possible that more than one individual will be killed in one collision. And actually in that picture, which is taken last winter, about 10 individuals died in one collision with a train. Luckily, these kind of accidents are still quite rare. So the reason why I'm giving this presentation is that we actually don't know too much about wild forest reindeer traffic mortality. Even we know that traffic might be a very important mortality factor. So because we have to start somewhere, we decided to start very basic and ask, for example, that how many individuals are killed in traffic in each year. And of course, we could speculate it if traffic mortality could even impact on population persistence. We are lucky because data collection procedure in Finland is nowadays quite straightforward. And it is because drivers have to call 112 after ungulate vehicle collision. After that, police always ask help, official help for voluntary local hunters. Those voluntaries visit in each collision site, track down animal if needed, remove the carcass from road area, and so on. And since 2017, they have also reported each task they have been carried out. They report, for example, the species, sometimes sex of animal, number of animals, location, and so on. And here in this presentation, we used 4-year dataset. And in addition, because we wanted to know how many % of population die in traffic annually, we use also population count data. And it's so-called total count, which means that we know quite well how many individuals there are. So we calculated separately for both subpopulations, so-called collision rate, meaning that how many collisions they were reported per 100 wintering individuals. And again, we calculated so-called road mortality rate, meaning that how many of these animals were actually killed or put down straight after collision. Then our findings. During that 4-year-long study period, there were about 250 collisions with wild forest reindeer, and 262 individuals were involved in these collisions. Only 62% of animals actually died after collision or were put down straight afterwards. So 1/3 of animals actually escaped from collision site. And always those voluntary hunters, they try to track animals, but of course if there is tens or even hundreds of individuals in a small area, it's practically impossible to find that one certain injured individual. However, one of our main findings was that in western subpopulation, Suomen selkä subpopulation, it has a higher collision rate when comparing to eastern population. And this is probably explained by traffic. There are more major roads in western part of country, which means that there is also more traffic. Our second main finding was that when looking only those animals which were classified as adult or juvenile, there were only 5% of calves in our data. So this is much less than in wintering population. Of course, it's possible that there might be even some systematic error in our dataset, and it's quite small anyway. But still, if this is true, it hints that wild forest reindeer road mortality might be adult biased. And if this is true, the possible negative effect of road mortality might be even bigger than only those collision numbers indicate. So, as you can see, there will be a lot of questions we have to answer in future. However, now it's your turn. Thank you for your time. Please ask good questions now or during conference or afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Milla. It was really interesting to see the wild reindeer. Normally people don't hear so much about this species. So that's interesting. Are there questions?
Here, well, thank you for your presentation. I'm pretty curious, is the wild reindeer another species as a domestic reindeer?
Well, sorry, I have lost my voice as well. Wonder why. There is only one species of reindeer, actually caribous in North America. They are belonging to the same species, but there is different subspecies. And this forest reindeer we are working with, it's more used to, of course, forested environment, but that semi-domestic reindeer, which lives, for example, northern Finland, it's actually domesticated from mountain reindeer. So the same species, but different subspecies.
More questions? Marcus?
Many thanks. Do you have any the numbers on predation rate from wolves on reindeer?
Yes, we have. I'm sorry, but I cannot remember that that how many percent of population is each year predated by wolf. But I remember that wolf is the most important cause of death. And also brown bear is very important, especially in the eastern population because of the dense brown bear population. And some bear are actually specialized to predate very small calves. Yeah, so it's also invisible.
Right. And bear predation usually is only on the calves, the newborn one, I guess.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
That was an interesting question because maybe if you have wolves and bears in one area and not in the other area, it can explain that these reindeers are hunted and therefore there might be a higher road mortality in the other area. Is this a possibility? Because,
well,
you know, they flee and they cross the road,
yeah,
maybe?
Yeah, that's very true. Cannot say that this is not possible. Yes, but the most of traffic kills actually occurs during winter time, and it seems that the predation pressure is more higher in calving season. So there might be a connection, but well, I don't know. We have to check. Yeah, good question.
Okay. Janos?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you estimate this collision mortality rate? Was this? I understand that the large number of animals in these collisions didn't die immediately, but moved to the landscape. Was those followed, or because I expect that those animals suffered some injuries?
Yeah. We expected that also. It's very likely that if small ungulate gets hit by car, it will be injured. And those voluntary hunters, they always try to track animal after the collision, but especially in winter time, when these reindeers are moving as big groups, there might be tens, sometimes even hundreds of animals. The landscape could be full of tracks. So even they are using trained dogs, it's sometimes just impossible to find that one injured animal. And it's very likely that it will die later. Yeah.
Does it mean that the mortality rate actually can be higher than you presented because some
Yes.
of them died later?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.